When it comes to hand sanding, most woodworkers use a 9x11 piece of sandpaper like I've got right here. Now if you're like me, the way I would use this in my shop for hand sanding, I'd take that 9x11 sheet piece of paper, I'd cut it down into smaller strips, I'd try to find me a flat piece of scrap material and wrap that piece of paper around it and try to do my hand sanding. The problem with this method is that it's very difficult to keep the paper tight and flat. The sanding paper also has a tendency to tear on the corners, and I really don't get a chance to use the entire surface because I only really have a small area that I can work with. The rest of the paper is used to grip the block. So some of us have gone out and purchased the aftermarket sanding blocks like I've got here. Now, these aren't really much better. They're very difficult to load the paper up underneath those little nails, and it's incredibly hard to get it tight enough that the paper doesn't move back and forth and eventually tear on that line. So let me show you a brand new tool called the Sand Devil, which is a much better solution. It's made from thermoplastic, very long life, it's got a lifetime warranty on it, but what I really like about this tool is that it doesn't use the 9x11 sheets. We're using a standard 3x21 sanding belt. It's just like loading an electric belt sander. We pull back on the tension device, which releases the back assembly, and the belt slides off. If you want to change grits from a coarse to a medium to a fine, it only takes a second. Slide it back on and push the tension device down, and if you listen, hear how it snaps that belt real tight? I've got a perfectly flat, tight surface. Now, it also has a pointed area, a tapered. We can use both the top and the bottom. We've got a curved area and a square corner to get into those really tight areas. Now, one of the best features about this is the cloth sanding belt. The cloth sanding belt typically will outlast the standard 9x11 sheet 10 to 1. And when we drag it across a very sharp edge, it doesn't tear the paper. Even if I take it down on this sharp corner, I can really use it like a rasp without worrying about tearing the surface, and you can see how quickly we remove the stock. Now let me show you a few other tips on how to use your Sand Devil in your shop. Sanding out defects in flat stock with the Sand Devil. Most of us already own random orbit sanders. The problem with trying to get a defect out of flat stock with a random orbit sander is that the soft pad on the underside follows the contours of the stock. That's what makes the Sand Devil a handy tool. The large flat surface will bridge over that defect and allow us to work out the stock nice and evenly. Now I know it's difficult to see, but the board I have in front of me has got a mark right across it here from the planer. I'm going to highlight this with a pencil. I'm using about a 150 grit sandpaper on my Sand Devil. Now,